thanks for joining us on National Focus. I'm Kerdisha St. Louis. Coming up, Dominica makes strides towards the implementation of CARREXX. The Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation calls for the curtailing of the improper disposal of white goods, and a 4-day mentorship program addresses the severity of heart disease in Dominica. Stay tuned for details of these and other stories after this.
A lot of bathtubs are blamed for bruises. Some staircases are accused of being responsible for broken bones. Doors are occasionally viewed suspiciously as causing lesions. A high percentage of tables are accused of producing bleeding or trauma. Violence against women is a crime, and it's everyone's responsibility. It's inexcusable. If you're a victim or witness of physical or psychological violence or abuse, seek help and denounce the perpetrator.
Thanks for staying with us. Dominica is making strides towards the implementation of the CARREXX Rapid Heart System for exchange of information on dangerous non-food consumer goods, CARREXX. A national consultation brought together stakeholders to discuss its successful implementation in Dominica. CARREXX was developed in response to concerns that there was a need to protect consumers from the unsafe products on the market. The Ministry of Trade, Employment, Industry and Diaspora Affairs is directly linked with that task.
The intention is to ensure that CARREXX countries are promptly alerted to the existence of flawed products on the regional market. A network which will be mediated by the CARREXX Secretariat has been designed, and it will cater to information flows through a system of national contact points, which of course we expect would be the consumer affairs departments within governments. Also economic operators, including manufacturers and sellers. We hope that the private sector can also self-regulate.
The ministry will undertake a number of initiatives to ensure imports and locally manufactured goods meet the quality required for the protection of consumers.
Number one, finalizing the consumer protection legislation, which we believe is very important to our consumers. Work is ongoing on the consumer protection bill, and we really hope to see some conclusion within this financial year. There are also legislative amendments which would allow for stronger official interventions. We are also formalizing a consumer protection unit through the Ministry of Trade, or within the Ministry of Trade. We already have a consumer protection unit, but we are looking forward to some assistance from the CDF, from the CDB, to formalize our unit and, of course, to assist us with the consumer protection bill.
The CARREXX Secretariat is engaging its 15 member states in discussions on actions to fully operationalize the CARREXX on a national level.
Customs, for border surveillance, Bureau of Standards, Consumer Affairs, Ministry of Health, Pesticides Control Boards, the private sector critical to the process because they are the ones who handle goods. They are the ones who import, who manufacture, who supply, who distribute goods and products on the market. And that at the state level, all these economic actors, state actors, non-state actors, NGOs, and public institutions must be spurred into action so that in the interests of consumers in Dominica and the CARREXX Secretariat, we can work jointly and in a collaborative manner to ensure that dangerous goods are detected.
Dominica has been involved in developing the CARREXX system since 2011. When the system is fully operationalized in Dominica, it will form an integral part of the consumer protection framework, which is currently being expanded. The Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation says the improper disposal of white goods must be curtailed. Florian Mitchell, General Manager of the Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation, sees no reason for the indiscriminate dumping of derelict white goods. Large pieces of household equipment, example refrigerators and washing machine, known as white goods, ultimately become breeding grounds for pests and vermin in the absence of proper disposal measures.
It's going to add to our chikungunya case, it's going to add to our dengue case. If we would have malaria, those things add up. And what we're asking the public is, if you have a white goods, I mean, your stove, you use your stove for 5 years, they give you good service. If you have a loved one that you love very dearly, and the person passes away, you try your best to get them a nice casket. Well, you had your stove on your fridge and you move it into a flat screen, your old tube, they just throw it in the air. I mean, it was faithful to you for 3, 4, 5 years. At least be faithful now. Bring it to our approved disposal site. You understand? Bring it to solid waste.
Mitchell says several options exist for the proper disposal of white goods. The Environmental Health Department is one.
Environmental Health, from what I know, has a truck that they use for the removal of white goods throughout the entire island. You just contact Environmental Health, they will tell you the schedule that the vehicle would be in your area in whichever day, whatever time, and then you put out. It makes it very easy to get rid of your white goods instead of using a legal avenue.
He says the task of maintaining Dominica's coveted image as the nature island of the Caribbean will take willingness to learn and a united front.
Just call us, 449-8168, 616-8170. My phone is always on. So information is critical. Just call us, we help you, because we believe that solid waste probably has about 100 staff. And we cannot 172,000, that's like a drop. But the 72,000, if each one of us play our part, then we could keep our nature isle clean and beautiful.
In other news, Monday 11th marked day 1 of a 4-day mentorship program conducted by the Ministry of Health, which seeks to address the severity of heart disease in Dominica. According to the Principal Nursing Officer Cesarina Ferrol, the Dominica Health Situation Analysis for November 2013 identified heart disease as the leading cause of death and cardiac arrest among the 10 leading causes of death in Dominica. Ferrell says the workshop will better equip health professionals to deal with individuals who may suffer from respiratory failure.
This training is very critical for health professionals, equipping them with the required skills to help revive, resuscitate, or sustain a person who is experiencing cardiac arrest or some other respiratory failure. This could include a drowning victim, a client with heart attack or stroke patient, or any scenario where breathing or heartbeat has been compromised. It involves emergency procedures performed to sustain life.
Ferrell identified the training as a priority needed and a timely initiative for new nurses and a refresher for older nurses to keep abreast with the new information and to ensure maintenance of skills and high level of competence. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Helen Rouet, is confident that the coaching, once put into practice, will benefit both the nurses and the wider public.
The Nurse Mentorship Training Program will help increase staff confidence and better prepare them to respond to emergencies that are life-threatening. It is my hope that you will be well poised to respond in time of emergencies, and I am hopeful that this added training will strategically position you to more effectively respond to a full range of affected persons who will need CPR. We must acknowledge, however, that this training will be useless if not translated to practical use. And the process of continuous training, continuous education and learning and improvement, implementing what we have learned, and an ongoing commitment to measuring and evaluating and improving our collective ability is of paramount importance if we are to experience any success.
The training complements the second phase of the mentorship coaching program implemented earlier this year and the regular program in nursing administration. Facilitator and a senior associate professor at the Miami-Dade College, Agathene, Scotland, highlighted the expected outcome of the in-service training.
At the end of this program, you should be able to promptly recognize cardiac arrest within 10 seconds of its occurrence, that you should be able to perform prompt, high-quality CPR with CAB sequence for the adult, the child, and the infant. You should be able to demonstrate hand positioning and other CPR techniques. You should be able to demonstrate individual management of CPR, team management of CPR, indication for the AED, and to demonstrate how you can set up the AED to shock the heart into a rhythm.
In 2013, 38 individuals participated in a similar basic life support training. The Central Statistics Office, in its quest to bring about a more efficient and sustainable mode of storing and retrieving vital data, is partnering with other government departments. In an exclusive interview with Chief Statistician Prema CARREXX on Friday, August 8th, she described the process of archiving from retrieving the report to computerization.
Right now, we start basically in retrieving reports of former years by subject. We would look at the first ever report that was produced, and the first ever report, detailed report that was produced, was in 1983. So we would go back and and most of our reports are numbered by years. So the first report would be 1983, then you would look at the second report, the third report, and the years, and then presently you would know on what number you would have been or number you are. And then we'd get all these reports together, ensure that no series is missed out, and we would begin the scanning. You kind of break down the report apart, and then you scan it. We have a scanner where you scan the information electronically, then you compose it as a report, as the original report, but it's electronic, and you put it in a link or its own specific database. So you would have the entire series preserved within your database.
The Chief Statistician revealed that the Statistics Office is also partnering with other government departments in this venture.
We are partnering with the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Finance. We also want to do documents like the budget addresses, the Social and Economic Review of Dominica, any national report of significance. We want to partner with disaster preparedness, where they would have do an assessment of damages of what happened after disaster. So this would be in the country's archive. So we want to partner with as many agencies, not only government, but non-government agencies also.
This data, which is a necessity to researchers, students, and the general population, will be made available to the public.
It will be available to the public. It would be an open domain where researchers, like I said, planners, students, interested persons, can go and access the archive. And also it would alleviate our burden in looking for the information for the public. The public it would be a friendly database, and it would be easily accessible. So the public, instead of calling us, they would just go to the site and access the information. Of course, there would be information that they would need, like current information that would not have been on the site yet. But we hope that would serve the public's demand.
The Central Statistics Office of Dominica has also been commended by CARREXX for achieving the #1 position in perfect compliance to the Code of Good Statistical Practices.
We are also working with CARREXX on this archiving, and we would need also, when we are complete, so within the process, we would call for an evaluation to ensure that an external evaluation to ensure that everything is done.
Honorable Minister for Energy Reuben Blackmore says the greatest legacy which the Labour Party administration will leave in the hearts of Dominicans is energy independence.
I believe what we're doing right now in geothermal development is going to transform this country and create the platform for the emergence of a new Dominica. Mr. Speaker, let's look at the energy situation in this country. As we speak, Mr. Speaker, 66% of our energy matrix come from diesel. Another 44% come from hydro. Now, we are going to see the emergence of a new Dominica when Dominica shall become, and we're well on our way to achieving that reality, Mr. Speaker, to becoming the first country to be a net exporter of energy, more so a net exporter of geothermal energy. The first country. That is commendable.
Even more commendable, according to the Energy Minister, is being the first to produce renewable energy in the region. Honorable Blackmore was addressing the House of Parliament on Tuesday, July 29. Dominica is paving the way in climate information. Through the Ministry of Health, the country is holding the first national consultation of its kind on Global Framework for Climate Services, GFCS, in Dominica. Addressing the opening ceremony of the two-day consultation on Tuesday, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Helen Royer, expounded on the fact that Dominica is classified among being the most vulnerable as it relates to climate change impact.
As a small island developing state, Dominica is especially challenged by the impact which the phenomenon could have on the development sectors and on our national population. Our experience with the impact of climate unpredictability is vast, bearing in mind Dominica's location, size, and topography. We do not need to delve too deep into our subconsciousness to find numerous examples of adverse effects of meteorological events affecting our population over the years. We only need to remember the Christmas Eve flood event of 2013 and the country's continuous preparation for heavy rainfall and storm events during the annual hurricane season to assess the impact on climate on the country's development.
The GFCS was established to better enable society to manage the risk arising out of climate variability and change, particularly those which are most vulnerable to the impact. Speaking on the behalf of the Honorable Minister for the Environment, Dr. Kenneth Daru, Permanent Secretary in this capacity, Harold Auguste, informed participants that Dominica is now seeing the effects of the change in global climate patterns.
We have already begun to experience the effects of climate change on health, and I believe chikungunya is one of those. I'm not an expert, so I'll not dwell too much into this. I believe Ebola virus is another one. There has been an upsurge in the incidence of pests and disease in agriculture. In Dominica in particular, this is unprecedented. We have never seen this before. Every crop in Dominica is affected by a disease now in recent times, including bay leaf. I've never seen that in my entire life. Endemic crapo, born here, bred here, raised here, indigenous to this country, it has a disease. And I believe the culprit is climate change.
In light of this, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Helen Ray, noted the importance of climate information.
Climate information plays a crucial role in development planning and for managing development opportunities and risk and mitigation and adaptation. While the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has raised political awareness, there is need to make available user-friendly information to end users, especially those requiring to make political decisions.
The national consultation aims to review the current status of generating climate information, to articulate the capacity building needs for Dominica, to propose, identify, and prioritize ways to promote community understanding and awareness of climate change, and to discuss and establish arrangements for enhanced research and analysis of local climate issues, among other objectives. The consultation will take place from August 12th to the 13th at the Fortier Hotel. And as the English news, McPherson said Luce is next with the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non, moi c'est McPherson Saint Luce. Premièrement, ministre Santé en collaboration et puis Comité Changement Climatique et Organisation Météo Internationale, quand il y a une consultation des jours qui a mis attention à ce changement climatique et puis manière pour une mitigation et puis comment ça a bien affecté nous. Présentation changement climatique délivrée par Adrian Trotman de l'Office Météo Caraïbes, officier Paro, permanent secrétaire Helen Roy et Harold Gis, et puis grande présentation même de Dr. Philippe Lucio de l'Office Météo International. Quand même si l'officier département santé environ et puis responsabilité pour changement climatique, Sylvestre Saintville, consultation des jours là garder plusieurs aspects changement climatique.
Nous sommes officiers de World Meteorological Organization avec PAHO, avec les autres. Et si avec nous avons discuté comment un changement climatique ça affecte ces secteurs de développement, avec comment nous ça build capacité nous pour withstand ces changements climatiques là. Aujourd'hui, mardi, nous avons parlé avec différents secteurs. Nous avons parlé de ces secteurs qui dit nous qu'on aller adapter pour changement climatique. Avec ça, il y a besoin pour faire adapter primaire. Demain, nous allons parler de santé, ministre santé qui est parler de santé, comment ça ministre santé besoin avec ça nous pour faire pour adapter pour changement climatique.
Alors nouvelle chef département quarantine régional tient un grand meeting en Cayman Islands. Chef département Dominic Ryan Ansem représenté pays en meeting là. Selon M. Ansem, plusieurs recommandations adoptées en meeting là, yon dit yo cité ça fait législation pour quarantine.
Nous parler contre un parti qui affecte l'agriculture en région. Nous faisons partie recommandation pour ces ministres agriculteurs qui allaient joindre en Suriname dans les salles en octobre. Yon ces recommandations ça là nous fait bien sérieux, c'est yon contre la législation. Loi en plan quarantine qui en les livre Attorney General, pas Dominique seulement, tous ces pays Caraïbes là, nous laissons ça en priorité. Là, nous avons une législation pour comply avec SPS agreement. SPS américain, c'est 1995. Il y a une loi qui est 1942. Nous avons regardé comment nous harmoniser ces législations pour nous gommer contre maladies qui ont détruit plan avec bêtes en région.
Il y a une autre recommandation pour faire et puis ça fait commodité à la place.
L'autre recommandation, nous mettons comment nous faire trade ensemble. Une place qui a dit ou pas amener figues, ou pas amener bananes, ou pas amener dachine parce que yo ka planter. Yo pas ça pour l'industrie aussi pas ni ça qui est maladie. Pour exemple, mon strat ni problème avec yo pas te capon figue nous. Avec nous des mon strat nous ça fait on trade avec yo sans nous mettre pays en risque avec black cigatoka. Encore nous avons dit que ces gens c'est travailler avec nous, avec comment nous avons fait trade en région, c'est important parce que nous avons bagay CSMI, bagay CARREXX nous pour faire trade libéralisation. Encore meeting ça c'est un succès.
À la nouvelle, le ministre de la Santé a mis en place pour augmenter le système pour monitorer mauvaises maladies, sans qu'il Health Surveillance System. Parole celle-là sortie au Dr. Charlotte Jeremy Coffey, Horde Ministre Santé. Dr. Kofi échoue en parole sur une maladie qui a concerné Ebola, qui déjà l'a occasionné plusieurs morts plutôt en Afrique. Dr. Kofi explique que le virus là, s'y met bien vite, malgré qu'il n'y a pas encore découvert en région là. Quand même, Dr. Kofi dit que le ministre là a mis toutes les mesures en place si en tous les cas, il arrive en région là et puis en Dominique. Finalement, traitement affaires ressuscitation qui nous Dominique a recevé pendant un workshop 4 jours semaine salam, quand expecte qu'il y ait un point bien sérieux. Parole cela sur le coordinateur service North l'hôpital Princess Margaret, North Deborah Philip.
C'est ça qui fait nous faire yo savent laisser nos salade trouver information ça là jodi yo ka le taper ça nous ka un certificat pour 2 années yo ke certify pour si on besoin assistance ça là yo ke ça ba yo comme ça nous ka encourager yo pour ça prendre ça sérieusement puis ça ouais ça c'est un but qui bien important pour ouais si on moun presque mort ou ça mener vivre ou ça aider pour bailler la vie vivre.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelles en créole pour à présent. Non, moi c'est McPherson. Au revoir.
Coming up next, tips for saving energy.
The WASCO recognizes that clean water is vital to healthy living. Therefore, it spares no effort in providing a clean, safe, and reliable system. Help keep our rivers safe and clean. Do not cut trees along the river banks and do not pollute with garbage, human or animal feces, and chemicals. Think water, think life.
Tip number 1. Unplug seldomly used appliances. 2. Unplug your chargers when you are not charging. 3. Use power strips to switch off appliances when you're not using them. 4. Set computers to sleep and hibernate. 5. Use appliances efficiently. And 6. Turn out the lights when not in use. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm. Like us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/GIS News Dominica. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire GIS News production team, I'm Kerdisha. Thanks for watching.